Most of y'all busy talking when you should be listening. Loose lips sink ships, I learned that through conditioning.
What's good, y'all? Out here in Canada after 17 hours on the road from Illinois, well, Northwest Indiana, Illinois, Chicagoland. Came up here to talk to my man Charlie Fettah right here from Winnipeg's Most. Y'all see me sitting here with the Red Bull, tired as hell, but we're gonna make this interview a little interesting for all of y'all. Like I said, it's the man right here, Charlie Fettah. Y'all know him from Winnipeg's Most. We're gonna get into some real stuff today. Get y'all behind the scenes to talk about what Charlie doing now. He about to go on tour. He got some dope music out there. If y'all ain't heard, y'all need to check him out. But I'm gonna let him say a few words and introduce himself for those of y'all who don't know about Canadian hip hop or about Winnipeg hip hop in particular. Because this is a scene out here that needs to be pushed as much as it can. Some great rappers out here and great acts. So without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to the man. Thanks for doing this interview, Charlie.
My pleasure, man. Crazy that you drove 17 hours, man, but I know how that is, man. Last tour, I did it from here to BC, and I didn't schedule no shows on the way back. So I drove like 23 hours one shot from Kelowna to here through the mountains and shit. So I respect your grind on the drive. Yeah, man. Charlie Fettah co-founded a group called Winnipeg's Most. To be honest, too, like, it's crazy that people still, like, that's where I'm recognized from, which is dope. Not a negative thing at all. It's just, like, we made that record, and then that record just blew the fuck up.
And you didn't even expect it.
We didn't do, like, we knew we were going to make a record. Like, we were doing live shows, and we were doing, we were doing well, but we were just a bunch of fucking hustlers.
Right.
That did it because it was something to do. It was something to spend your money on, right? Buy a new mic, get a computer, whatever. It was just, like, I don't know what it was. I guess because I was born in '85, so I think my generation growing up, it was like the first wave of like personal computers.
True story.
So like I can remember my dad coming home with like Windows 3.1 with like solitaire.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And then I'd play Warcraft on it, and I was there for like all kind of like the first file sharing shit.
Yeah.
So like, and that was my youth, and then so when we started to get into recording, I think we were like really some of the first, just generational wise. People that had that ease of access to record. If you had the money, you could go to a studio, but we were doing this shit at home.
Yeah.
And so that kind of just like really helped us. Like by the time we went, like that was probably 4 years before we did the group. Okay. Me and Jon-C and Bubbles and all the original.
So all y'all was tight before the group even came around. Y'all was family.
It's fucked up too. The reason I met those dudes was it was a fucked up story. I knew an older dude, like, so those dudes, like, Jon-C is older than me.
Right.
Like, by a few years, but, like, especially when you're, like, high school, it's a lot different. Like, if you're in grade 9 and he's in grade 11 and grade 12, that's a big difference, right?
Right.
But anyways, I knew a friend of his was a friend of mine, and they made this song, and they kind of dissed me on it, but not really. They just, like that part from, what was it? I think it was Casino or Goodfellas or whatever, where he puts his head in a vice. He's like, you fucking pop your eye out of your head for Charlie M?
Right.
So instead of saying Charlie M, they said Charlie Fettah, just to be slick, because I was on the radio, I did a couple freestyle things, whatever, and I heard it. And the battle rapper in me immediately was like, yo, fuck these dudes.
Oh,
like,
gotta get them.
Right away. And it wasn't even the rap song. The rap song wasn't a diss. It was just like their homie, who's one of my best friends now.
Right.
The dude that said, he's like, we just said it to fuck, like, we're trolls. We're trolling you, right? And I was like, yeah, I get it. They're flexing, right? So anyways, I was like, I called the mutual friend. I said, what the fuck is this? He's like, I don't know. I haven't even heard it. So I sent it to him. He's like, oh, man. He's like, yeah, it's kind of whack. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking go at him. I'm going to go in the booth, my room. I'm going to fucking go at it. Because at that time, there was SoundClick. It was like no SoundCloud, SoundClick. Man, yeah, so I would load shit up on the SoundClick. And I remember I had gotten to a couple of beefs with people from the States, people from Australia. But it was just rap shit, right? You don't know this dude. It was like sharpening your sword.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm coming at this, because it's no real beef.
Right, this is about bars.
I'm a kind of a not well-known, I'm kind of like known in the area as being like a kind of a good lyricist, and they're just like trying to poke the lion, you know what I mean? Poke the bear, see what happens. And they're about it, so they're like, we do what we want. So anyways, long story short, he goes, no, you don't want to do that. No. He's like, no, like, you do not want to diss these dudes. And I'm like, well, why, man? Like, he's like, okay, let me tell you something. Don't do it. And I'll just take you to meet them. And he's like, it's all good. I've already talked to them. Like, it's no beef. Right. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I walked in, and in my head, I'm thinking, gotta be like fucking puff out my chest. It wasn't even necessary. These dudes were all G, all like, and I mean, like at the time, we were all doing shit that we shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
Even my little ass was fucking.
That's a part of the grind.
It was part of growing up. But these dudes were like, about it. Like they were like, they were a lot. I was like one dude with a couple high school friends that did some shit. These dudes were like, it was just a more well-oiled organization.
Right.
But we hit it off right away. Like the second I walked into that door, we shook hands. We laughed about it immediately. Like, I can't remember who said it, but someone was like, "Oh, we knew you were gonna we knew you would say something, this, something was gonna happen." And it turned out to be honestly, like, a lot of the people that I met that day walking into that house, still to this day, are like lifelong best friends. Call me, I'm there in a heartbeat type of people. So when Winnipeg's Most did the record, it was me and Jon-C originally. Mm-hmm. So if you listen to the first album, the intro track says Winnipeg's Most, Jon-C, Charlie Fettah, Stomp, and J-Mac, da-da-da-da. Right. While we were recording that, Brooklyn had already come into like the fold of Heatbag, but the way it broke down was we had met Stomp and J-Mac, me and Jon-C, separately like a few years before this happened.
Right.
And they were really popping with this group called Res Official, so we knew but they got time and then they called us. So when they called us, he goes, "We want to make that record with you and C." Right. So I'm like, "All right, bet." So we started recording. And then Brooklyn was just around. He was already making dope-ass music. So it was pretty much like, well, let's just make it a trio.
Right.
One, it'll make the songs easier to do.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was like, I wasn't like really practicing. Like I said, we were still doing shit in the street. It was kind of like, but that kind of lended itself to that production of that album because we had so much love from all the hustlers. You come to the first Heatbag show that we ever did, the first real Heatbag show, was on Portage Avenue, and it was at a place called Salsa Bar, which is right across the street from the University of Winnipeg. And we had black and white shirts, so one was black, one was white, same logo, which was the gun with the magnifying and the fingerprint, old school one. We made 100 of those. We sold them all, and there's a picture floating around somewhere. I think Jon-C still has it. You look at this picture, there's probably like 80 people in the picture. Dude, there was like gang members that would not be sitting beside each other. Hustlers that have had beef with each other for years.
So now you got a movement going on.
And that's how we knew. And everybody just fucked with the music.
Right.
Because we weren't claiming a gang. We were claiming Northside, North End shit, but we weren't like, it wasn't like one way or the other, right?
Right.
So when we came time to do the record, I think all of that movement was still there. It was still bubbling because we were still putting out music. So when we put Winnipeg's Most out, and we reached that higher level of production, that higher level of thoughtfulness.
Right.
The higher level of songwriting, like Stomp and Jay were there. He flew to Winnipeg from Edmonton to do it, from Hobima, and he really kind of told us where to go.
Right.
And it was just auto. Like that album came together quick. Like he only sent us about 3 or 4 beats before he came, and he's like, just write to these, and I'm gonna come out for like 10, 12 days, so we're gonna bang it out. So we just turned my house into the studio. We built like this little kind of like folding thing. We just went in for 2 weeks, and then he left. And then I didn't hear nothing. And we were in the street, so we're running around, and I'm not really even thinking about this record. I'm like, oh, man, what the fuck? And then, you have a conversation with your man over a beer or something.
Right.
What the fuck's up with this song? I don't know. I'll email him. And he emails you, and he goes, I'm working on it. He said, I'm working on it. Out of nowhere, man, he just sent us the 10 songs. And he went and got a feature from Kobe, who was popping at the time. He was just on that Clips record.
Okay, yeah.
Back and my boys do too. And the said I need money. I don't know what I'ma do, but I'ma do it. That shit.
I didn't even know y'all had a song with him.
Yeah, we had a song with him, and Stomp just went out of his way. Like he just had this vision for it, and he just created it. And then when he gave the album back, we listened to it, and I was just like, it was already like put together, like it was already arranged, mixed, mastered, like it was, here you go. And then during that, after he showed us the record, I don't even know if we had the name. I don't know if the name came before or after, but he said, I got the name for the group. And we're like, hey, what is it? And he's like, Winnipeg's Most. And we're all like, Winnipeg's Most what? And he's like, exactly. And I was like,
And that's dope though, because if you think about it, just that name alone, how you just said you had to picture all the 80s, and you had the gangs and the rival gangs and the hustlers sitting next to each other.
And he didn't want to make it corny like Winnipeg's Most Wanted, right? Because we don't want to copy the Compton Most Wanted shit.
Right.
And he was like, but yo, when you type in Winnipeg's Most Wanted is gonna show. It's gonna be kind of like you're not gonna find like pleasant news when you search Winnipeg's Most.
Right.
Like, you're going to find some, like, Winnipeg's Most Wanted, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh,
like,
that's a good marketing ploy.
it was a crazy marketing ploy because Stomp is a graphic designer, like, by trade. So he was already, he's an early computer dude, too. And he just kind of had these, like, he knew what algorithms were before I knew what the fuck word was, you know?
Yeah.
So he just had it, and we just pushed it. And when that thing hit, and we paid, we funded the video for Stewie. We did All That I Know. And yeah, it just took off. And we put out the song. I'm kind of skipping something. We put out a mixtape just before the record. It was called Northside Connection. And it had that Bang Bang song, which I fucking hate. But that song paid my mortgage for like 3 years. You know what I mean? So, but it just took. So it's crazy to me now, bring it around fucking 10 minutes into the interview.
Bring
it all the way back around it's crazy that someone from Chicago, it's reached a point that I'm like, whoa, like after all this long, that's how 99% of the people are always like, yo, you Fettah from Winnipeg's Most? From Winnipeg's Most? From Winnipeg's Most? And like even that dude outside, he was like, yo, he walked by earlier and he was kind of mean mugging in here.
Right.
And I was kind of looking, and then he came back and he knocked on the door with a smile on his face, like, yo, man, you know. So it's crazy, man. It's mad love. It's crazy that music is still doing that shit for me, you know.
I tell you what's dope though is that, you know, I just found out about you guys this year. I come up here to do Northern Touch.
Oh shit, yeah.
So, you know, I just read more into the groups from here, and when I read the story at first, I'm like, the first they described it as a tragedy, which I mean it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time though, I'm like, oh man, I would have liked to have a chance to talk to them. But then when I heard, oh, he's still alive, yeah, I got to connect with him one way or another. But it's getting cold, and you know, hey, Winnipeg level of cold is a lot.
You think this is cold? This is not cold.
No, this ain't cold. This is
cool. You were
cool.
here for Northern Touch. When was that? What month was that?
June, the end of June.
It was in June. It was in the summer. Have you been here in like February?
I won't.
Okay. But no, like Chicago's not warm, but it gets like, we're talking like minus like 40.
See,
your skin will freeze. Like it'll say that on the news. Like if you go outside, exposed skin will freeze in however many minutes.
See, that's that level. We had 2 days like that in January when that polar vortex came down through Canada and the States.
Like every day is a polar vortex over here.
Dude, will tell you what's fucked up though is that I drove to work in my truck and my heat went out.
On that day.
Yeah, on that day. Man, that was some real life cold right there.
I think in Winnipeg, man, you just get used to it. I've been born and raised here, so your wardrobe always includes a lot of coats.
Yeah.
A lot of layers. I kind of like, the thing I like about Winnipeg is for the style, because I can layer up. I like to layer. I'm not like, in the summertime, it's a little bit, in the summertime it's just plain shit, right? White tee, black tee, whatever. But I like the wintertime because like we can layer up and we can support it. Fall gets cold, so you get like, I got like a spring, fall, winter coat collection.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth with it, but I think that shows in our music and everybody's music from here. Like it's a cold. In the wintertime, I can remember like you just look outside, it's just like barren.
Right.
Barren wasteland. It's just flat and just wind just whipping across. Fucking snow that's not even ice, that's like a fucking rock just because the wind keeps blowing over it and shit. So I think that shows in our music. I think that's why they're like Winnipeg, when Winnipeg's Most blew, I think that's a big part of it because we were just, you know, not to sound like cliche, but we were just like really about it. Like we were really doing what we were saying we were doing and really defending it. You know, like the fights that Jon-C and Brooke would have with entire bars were legendary.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to dwell on that shit, but we were infamous before we were famous.
Right.
That's kind of what helped us propel us in the Canadian scene was they would Google our name and it'd be like, oh, Charlie Fettah goes back to prison on a parole violation, or Brooklyn goes to jail, or Jon-C facing assault charges from a fight that stemmed from a show. And I can remember like we were so popular though for like a 2-year period that it didn't matter if we punched somebody out at the venue. Like I remember Brooklyn hit the sound guy one time at the Pyramid, sold out, 600 people there. We just won awards at the MTS Center, at the arena. And we walked over to the Pyramid to do our show, and the sound guy fucked up or something like that. He ended up catching a poke. And it was like nothing happened. Like the dude just kind of took the lick, like gave him a new microphone, and like the show just went on. Like it was just like,
status.
It was status. Like looking back now, it's like a 34-year-old man with a kid.
Yeah.
I look back and I'm like, ooh, but I mean, there's no point dwelling. That shit it was fun.
Man,
nobody got too badly hurt. You know
I don't know anybody who didn't do crazy shit when they were young, but you know our minds evolve over time. But speaking of, now, well, you said that you guys actually did the shit that you talked about and you lived it.
Yeah.
So, was it a big transition, like now you're getting into the glitz and glamour on a certain level? You know, you going to like a different type of drug scene, different type of like women and everything. So now, did you, Brooklyn and Jon-C, think that, hey, we want to evolve past this shit, but at the same time, this is the shit that we used to, and it's like times 20 now?
I guess when you're comfortable with it, it's not as big as a shock. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if I was like, and like I said, man, like those dudes came up a lot harder than I did. You know what I mean? I kind of got into, the way I got into the street was because of greed.
Right.
Like I had both parents. Well, I was raised by my mom until I was about grade 7, grade 8.
Right.
And then all of a sudden my dad was back in the picture and we moved back in with him and whatever. Like I didn't have the greatest relationship with him, but that being said, I had 2 parents at home. Right, I had a lot of love at home. Like there was no reason for me to really do what I did.
Right.
But it was greed. So Jon-C and Brooke, and they told these stories, you know, in the documentaries and shit. They had like, they were really about it. Like they were really protective. I don't even think it was like gangster shit. I think it was protective. I think when you have to protect yourself from a very young age and everything you have, I think you have a different mindset. Mm-hmm. But we were very used to it. Like we were used to money because we were hustling.
Right.
We were used to girls because we were hustling. Mm-hmm. We were used to like kind of like notoriety because we always rolled as like 12 deep and everybody was together all the time. So when there was one, there was all of us. Right. And we kind of already had that. So when it got bigger, it just kind of like got bigger.
Right. Amplified it.
That being said, you know, I went back on a couple parole violations. You get me? I'm not going to go through it all, you know.
Right. I got you.
Just, you can do your Googles. Like, we were still kind of...
we ain't got to do it.
Yeah, but we were still just not really listening.
Right.
We were not, like, taking... And then I think after the first record, I think when we were going to go record the next one, and we did that tour, like Brooklyn was locked up, and we did that tour, I think that was a really huge realization. We started seeing the bags you could get. Yeah. Like, we got handed, like, $15,000 for a show, 45-minute set. And I remember I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what, from rap music? Like, you guys like this shit this much? It was crazy with merch and all this other shit. It was just like, it was crazy. So we were all able to step away a little bit. But, I mean, it was always hard. We always had things pulling us back. I mean, those are our homies.
Yeah,
those are people we came up with for 10 years. So how do you turn your back on that?
When you're young, especially when you're young, you know, you got a certain moral set. You got loyalties. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I still struggle with that.
Loyalty to the wrong shit.
Exactly.
For better or worse. Like, that's your homie. That's your man. I get it. Yep. But sometimes you got to walk away from it.
It's to the point, right. It gets to the point where you got to say, look, man, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. This, and that. You ain't changing this. I'm trying to level up. Yeah. The people that's up here, these are the people I'm trying to keep around me. You know what I'm saying? Now it's about, especially like you said, you got a kid now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but then back then, that's kind of what it was.
It was easy to get wrapped up in it. And it was a whirlwind of success. You know what I mean? It was just like it was just quick. There was no thinking about it. Like it was move, show. I think what happened with us was that, you know, you're so busy, you're so successful, egos just get inflated. Mine as well. I always say this too. It's crazy when people try to ask me about like, why'd you guys break up or why this, why that. I'm like, man, you had 3 alphas with 2 alpha producers. Everybody's got their own set of ideas. Everybody's got their own shit that they think is more important than the other. Right. When money's involved, you fuck you, fuck you, fuck. That doesn't accomplish nothing. Right. So the second album, I think, suffered a little bit because of that. I'm still very proud of all the music we put out. But it was just like whirlwind shit like that. But like to say that, like we were just used to it. It wasn't culture shock. Like I was like, whatever. And that kind of didn't help with the ego. Right. I was like, I'm already like, the bag big. You know what I mean? Right. You get your ghost face on. You know what I mean? You start really fucking like feeling yourself. Yeah. Which and then you got 3 people, so it's always 2 against 1. It's always 1 against 2. Someone's always the odd man out. Someone always gonna have feelings over something because they got outvoted. Whether that's just the way you do it, it's 2-1. That's you got to keep it moving. But those types of feelings, especially with an artist, when you're people that are being creative, you're not in like a work sense where it's like me and you were on a roofing crew, and we just got to do this together because we know that. That's easy. When you got to create and have a vibe with somebody, I think. That's why I like being solo now, pretty much. I've had people try, I'll do collaborative albums with people, but that's why my last 3 projects were like, well, one was with Bubs, but that's like A1 since day one. Like anything we want to do together, we're doing. But as far as being in like a group again or anything like that, I always say like, I want to be selfish with my art. It was cool to do it, and the only reason that I'm allowed to be selfish or I'm able to be selfish with my art and do tours as a solo artist was because of that. So in no way, shape, or form do I ever try to like take away from that. But it's like you said, you move on from things, and I think that was important that all of us were able to do that. Like when we broke up, Brooke went and did YSMG. Me and Jon-C did the Winnipeg Boys record. Like we were all kind of able to still use our platform to push forward and still create. And then, rest in peace to Brooklyn. He had a real vibe going on there. Like even though him and I didn't always see eye to eye. I was super proud to see the amount of content, the quality of content. He was really putting his money where his mouth was, and putting a lot of dudes on, as he always did. He was very helpful for me too. Like he always had a lot to go around. You know what I mean? And he was not a selfish. He was a very generous person with his time, with his finances, with his energy. He was always cool. You know what I mean? So any beef that we had was strictly like brother beef. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You got people like that in your life that you like, I ain't talking to him right now. But like really, if he calls you and needs help,
you ready to ride?
Where are you? What's the address? We could talk about that other shit after this shit. You know what I mean? Or not even. I'll probably just help you with this shit, then we'll still go our separate ways because we're both men, right? But yeah, man, it was just like it was crazy to see that vibe that was able to like just propel everybody, even affiliates of us. Got put on. And I'm not gonna mention no names because some people catch feelings when I let them when they talk. They talk slick, and I go, well, don't forget who put you the fuck on. I don't ever say that. I'm not the dude to post that. But when you start talking shit, sometimes I'm like, what's the first time you got on a big stage? Who was it with? You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Don't forget
where you came from.
Don't forget what happened. But, yeah, man. It was great. I love Winnipeg.
From that, like I said, when I read about Winnipeg's most, all I read about was the dark side. I read about the claims, the allegations, the jail time. So I'm kind of glad that you actually elaborated on that because I feel like people need to see. I mean, they need to be humanized. It's like the first thing.
I got convicted, dog.
Hey, it is what it is. Like, hey, we did what we had to do to survive. So now taking that from that experience from now, is there anything that you would have changed then, and how did you evolve to who you are now?
I don't think I would have changed anything. I've thought about this a lot. You know what I would have done? I would have saved more money. I would have saved money because I had a hustler mentality. When you're getting a decent bag every day, I was just a runner at first, and then I graduated up and started doing bigger things and chefing and like you know what I mean. I was personable, I was trustworthy. You could trust me with shit, so I worked up pretty good. When I quit music, I'm lucky because I was able to get that bag continuously. Like it didn't stop. Little dip, but nothing major. But I was still spending. When you're dealing with one commodity that is going every day, it don't matter. Rain, sleet, snow, cold, hot, fucking Christmas, like don't fucking matter. That's going. You can depend on as long as your shit don't fuck up. You have a stream that you can just go whoop. Whoop. With music, you get a bag and you got to kind of live off of it for a little bit. But if it's a big enough bag, you're okay. But you don't budget. So I would have done that. I would have saved money and I wouldn't have made so many mistakes like with that because on the pursuit of money, I made a lot of dumb shit. Like I did a lot of stupid shit. Knock on wood that I'm still here and breathing, but I did a lot of dumb fucking shit. Where you wake up and you're like, let's not do that again.
I'm still here.
I'm not really a religious dude, but my buddy showed me the Catholic side. That's like I've done it a few times where it's like I almost got into a car accident. I'm not even Catholic. I don't even believe in like whatever it is, but I feel like I just need to do something. I'm just like, holy fuck, I don't know who that like. But yeah, nights like that, I would have changed. I would have made, and I also would have made the change with the group and the music, nothing. With all the byproducts, I would have changed some things. Save money, been a little bit more responsible, took care of people in a more handled things in a nicer way.
And that's good advice though, because I mean, just in contrast, you look at people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. You see them in the street, you don't even know they got money.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
Jay-Z said it best, where he's like, I'm young enough to know the right car to buy, yet grown enough not to put rims on it.
Yep.
Like, that was the thing. When you're that age, you're like, yes, I want the biggest gold chain.
Yeah.
Yes, I want fucking all the bottles with all the sparklers and all the waitresses, and I want everybody to know I'm here.
Right.
And now, I'm like, wow, I was spending just a monetary thing, just because I'm doing good now. I got some things going good. Music goes good. The shop does great. You know, I'm okay.
Right.
Would have been nicer to be a little bit better.
Right.
And the second part of that was, you know, what was it, like having a kid, like where I was able to grow and shit was, I think it was just getting sick of it.
Yeah.
It was getting sick of fucking, like when I was on parole, I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Like I'm blessed that I got out, and like I'm no lie. I know exactly why I got out. Because I'm fucking white, and because it was my first offense, and because I was white. Let's be honest. In Winnipeg, you know, when I went to Stony Mountain Penitentiary, it's like 80% Aboriginal. You know what I mean? And the things that I learned, like I am Métis, but I don't have a card. I wasn't raised like that. Right. So, but what I learned, and I have so many, like, most of my good friends are Indigenous people. What I learned when I went there was when I saw that disproportionate number. And then I had to realize for myself, I was like, yo, you didn't even have to do that. You didn't even have to do that. And now your mom's got to come visit you. Like, it was weird. Some of the people that were in there had to do that. That was the only choice they had. Right. And I felt like, man, like I felt really dumb. I felt really ashamed of my actions. But it also opened my eyes really wide to like racism, to fucking just everything that entails.
Right.
Seeing the disproportionate amount of minorities, and I was like, man, I was hustling with 15 white boys at one point.
Yeah.
Why? What's going on here? And they're in there for way longer for lesser shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm getting early parole and shit like that. So when I saw that, I never took that for granted. And I think that that's something that helped me when I got back off my second parole violation. I had a conversation with like an old lifer, like this old Indigenous dude, just whatever, having a cigarette, just talking. And he didn't say nothing, like didn't drop a gem on me, but just like he was talking, and you know, we kind of just connected really well. And I remember when I left, he said to me, he's like, man, I hear you on the radio. My daughter listens to you. My auntie, my sister listens to you. You know, you have something that you don't need to be here no more.
Right.
And I was like thinking in my head, I didn't need to be here in the first place. I was greedy. Right. There was no reason for me to do the shit I was doing. But when he said that to me, it stuck with me. And then I also had all that awareness of like, just like, and my bros, all like Jon-C in Brooklyn. I'm in a group with Indigenous people traveling to all these indigenous northern communities, and they're showing me big love, handing me big money. So once that started to come in, like towards like the second record, and like it was like really like I kind of knew then. I wasn't ready to do it, but I knew then what I had to do. Right. What I had to use my voice for, what I had to change, what I had to do for me mentally, and to be like a better part of my community. And that's not being like a role. I was always said, I was like, I ain't a fucking role model. Right. I think I have a little bit more respect now, and I'm more of I can be an ally. I mean, that's what a lot of people used to say to me too. They used to hate on me, like when I would do like a fundraiser for there was a young girl here that was found in the Red River.
I heard about that.
And it fucked me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It fucked me up. And I threw an event. And it was just, I'm not going to say no names, it was a success. It was great. We raised a lot of money. We were able to give it to a shelter that helps young people get off the streets at night. It was great. But I got a lot of blowback. And I just learned you have to expect the blowback. Right. You can't be mad that people are skeptical of your help. Right. So it gave me awareness. And all that came from music. All that traveling. And then going to prison back on a parole violation when I had some status in the community, and then people were kind of a little bit more open to talk. It's weird. Right. When you have a voice, people are kind of they talk to you more. Right. And they trust you a little bit more because they have a connection with you. They've heard your words. They felt your maybe you made a connection to them and you don't even know it. Right. So all those things is like that's how I was able to change. I just took all of those things without getting mad. When I got blowback, I was like, whatever, man. It's cool. I'm doing this because I want to do this. Yeah. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, and you know what I mean. And then I met River's mom, and the rest is bing bang bong history. You know what I mean? Like she opened my eyes to a whole nother. She was a powwow dancer, and she was like just really, she lived in Sweden dancing like powwow. And so when I started really learning about like the indigenous land that I'm living on, that my colonial ancestors that we took, you know what I mean? It's just like all these things started bubbling up inside of me where it was like, I can't be this person no more. I can't sell drugs no more.
Right.
I can't destroy my community anymore. Like I can't do it. And if anything, I need to now, because of the karma points, I need to do more. I need to go the opposite way.
Right.
Start getting these good points back.
Right.
And music always allowed me those opportunities, and that just helped with the growth. And my music never changed. I still write bars about shit. I did it. I'll write it. It sounds dope.
Right.
Music's supposed to be fun.
Right.
I mean, too many people are like, yo, you really changed. Why you still rap about that? I'm like, dude,
it's me.
I own a coffee shop, and you can come buy a latte off me.
Right.
Like, I'm not still doing